The most dangerous weapon in Rebel Ridge is not Terry Richmond's military training. It's a police camera. Chief Sandy Byrne's body cam, clipped to his vest, still recording as he stands over Terry at the Shelby Springs station. Every threat he's muttered, every confession his officers have made, every lie they've told to cover up $36,000 in stolen cash. All of it captured. Byrne spent years building a department that answers to nobody. The cameras were supposed to protect his officers. But Terry Richmond spent 4 years training Marines in close-quarters combat and tactical de-escalation. He knows a principle Byrne forgot. A weapon is only as loyal as the person holding it. And Terry doesn't need a gun. He just needs the footage. By the time he walks out of Shelby Springs, that body cam has become a wrecking ball aimed at the department that thought it was bulletproof. The same system designed to shield corrupt cops becomes the single piece of evidence that destroys them. But Terry didn't arrive in Shelby Springs looking for a war. He arrived on a bicycle, carrying $36,000 to bail his cousin out of jail. And before he even reached the town limits, he'd already lost everything. The movie opens with Terry riding his bicycle along an empty road. He is calm, focused, almost impossible to read. Then a police cruiser slams into him from behind. Terry crashes onto the pavement, and before he can understand what happened, 2 officers point weapons at him.
On the ground!
Wait, hold on, you hit me!
That short exchange reveals the entire movie. Terry speaks the truth. The police immediately replace it with their own version. The officers accuse him of fleeing, search his body, and pressure him into letting them open his backpack. Inside, they find $36,000. Terry explains that $10,000 is for his cousin Mike's bail. The rest will buy a truck so they can start a small business. He says,
I'm not a criminal.
But the officers do not need proof. They only need suspicion. Using civil asset forfeiture, they seize every dollar and leave Terry injured on the roadside. This is the first hidden clue to the movie's real conflict. Terry is not fighting a single bad officer. He is fighting a system that can commit theft while calling it procedure. At the courthouse, Terry meets Summer McBride. She explains that the police can take property without charging its owner. The legal case will not even name Terry as the defendant. It will be the township of Shelby Springs versus $36,000. Summer delivers the cruelest part simply.
Because your property has no civil rights.
That line sounds almost absurd, but it reveals how the town removes the human being from the crime. Once Terry becomes paperwork, nobody has to care why he needed the money, and he needs it urgently. His cousin Mike is being held on a minor drug charge and will soon be transferred to state prison. Mike previously testified against a gang member connected to a murder case. If prisoners recognize him, he could be killed. Terry now has one goal: find $10,000 before the transfer. Summer agrees to help prepare the bail paperwork, while Terry calls his former business partner, Mr. Lou, for replacement money. For a moment, there is hope. Then, Terry walks into the police station and meets Chief Sandy Byrne. Byrne is not loud like Officer Lan. He is controlled, polite, almost fatherly. That makes him more dangerous. He calmly rewrites the roadside assault, claiming Terry caused his own injuries and received fair treatment. Terry does not threaten him. Instead, he offers a deal. The department can keep $26,000. Terry only wants the $10,000 needed for Mike.
I just need him out.
Byrne appears to agree and tells Terry to return Monday morning. But Byrne has already recognized something important. Terry cannot be controlled through fear, so Byrne targets time. When Terry arrives Monday, he is 3 minutes late. The prison bus has already left. Byrne moved the schedule forward. Terry chases the bus on his bicycle and finally reaches Mike through the window.
Get you out!
He warns Mike to request protective custody. This scene feels hopeful, but it is actually tragic foreshadowing. Terry is physically close enough to see Mike, yet the system remains between them: glass, steel, and armed authority. Then Mr. Lou calls. Police have raided his restaurant, seized his safe, and destroyed Terry's second chance at raising bail. Byrne is not only blocking Terry, he is isolating him. Anyone who helps Terry becomes a target. Meanwhile, Summer discovers something strange. Other misdemeanor defendants have also received extremely high bail. Their cases are repeatedly delayed, and many remain locked up for exactly 90 days. Why 90? The answer becomes the movie's central mystery, but Terry has no time to solve it. He returns to the station, where Byrne expects him to surrender. Instead, the movie reveals what Terry has been hiding. The police examine his military record and discover that he was an instructor in the Marine Corps martial arts program. This is not just a surprise about his fighting ability. It explains his behavior from the opening scene. Terry was never calm because he was weak. He was calm because he understood exactly how much damage he could cause. Inside the station, Terry disarms Lan, controls Byrne, and forces Officer Sims to open the property room. He finds piles of seized cash and weapons. This is another important visual clue. Terry's stolen money is not an isolated case. The room looks like the physical heart of the town's corruption, a collection of lives reduced to evidence tags. Terry retrieves $10,000 and rushes to the courthouse. Summer processes the bail. For one brief moment, Terry seems to have won. Then Byrne reveals that Mike has already been stabbed in prison. He is dead. This is the movie's emotional midpoint. Until now, Terry's restraint was connected to hope. Every humiliation had a purpose because Mike might still survive. Now that purpose is gone. Byrne offers Terry the remaining money, pays for his truck, and promises to drop the charges if he leaves town. It looks like compensation. In reality, it is hush money. Terry accepts because he is emotionally exhausted, but the movie refuses to let him escape. That night, Summer calls him after someone breaks into her home and injects her with drugs. Summer is a recovering addict fighting for custody of her child. A positive drug test could cost her job and destroy her credibility. The attack is psychologically calculated. The police do not simply want to silence her. They want to transform the truth teller into someone nobody will believe. Terry helps her, then again attempts to leave Shelby Springs. Officer Lan stops him on the road, plants a gun in his truck, and shoots him. Now Terry understands the full danger. Byrne's deal was never meant to protect him. It was meant to move him somewhere quiet enough to kill. Terry escapes and reunites with Summer at Mr. Liu's restaurant. Together, they begin following the 90-day pattern. They confront courthouse employee Elliot and eventually force the town judge to explain the conspiracy. Years earlier, police misconduct nearly bankrupted Shelby Springs. To avoid outside oversight, Byrne created a system. People arrested during questionable police encounters were charged with misdemeanors and given impossible bail. Because the municipal court offered no proper public defense, they remained trapped. Their cases were delayed for 90 days. And after 90 days, the police dashcam footage connected to their arrests was automatically deleted. That is the hidden reason behind everything. The town is not holding people because they are dangerous. It is holding them until the evidence becomes harmless. Once the footage disappears, charges can be reduced or dismissed, and the victims can no longer prove what happened. Civil forfeiture funds the police. The court delays the cases. The jail controls the witnesses. Every part of the town protects the next. The judge dies by suicide after admitting his role, leaving Terry and Summer with only one path forward. They must steal the stored dashcam memory cards from the courthouse basement. They break in and locate the evidence. But Byrne's officers arrive and start a fire to destroy the records. Terry escapes with the cards. Summer is captured. Lan offers an exchange at a remote location called Rebel Ridge. Summer for the evidence, but Terry knows the location is a trap, so instead of going to Rebel Ridge, he attacks the police station while most of the officers are waiting for him elsewhere. This decision shows Terry's greatest skill. He does not overpower the enemy by becoming more violent. He changes the battlefield. Inside the station, Terry subdues Byrne and enters the property room. He believes Officer Sims is Summer's secret police informant, codenamed Serpico. He trusts her with the cards, but Sims arrests him. Lan returns and destroys the evidence. For a moment, the conspiracy appears to have won. Then Officer Marston steps forward. Marston was present during Terry's original roadside assault, yet he is revealed as the real Serpico. This twist is more meaningful than it first appears. Marston is not secretly innocent. He participated in the corruption, but unlike the others, he has reached the point where silence is no longer possible. When Lan reveals that Summer has been injected again and may overdose, Marston protests.
Now put that weapon down!
Byrne shoots him. This is the moment Byrne loses control of his own officers. Until now, he maintained loyalty by presenting every crime as necessary for the department's survival. But shooting Marston proves the truth. Byrne is no longer protecting the police. He is protecting himself. Terry escapes during the chaos and fights through the officers using shields, improvised weapons, and non-lethal force. Even after Mike's death, Terry refuses to execute anyone. That restraint is his real character transformation. He does not change from peaceful to violent. He changes from defensive to purposeful. He finally accepts that walking away will not stop the system. Terry reaches the wounded Marston, who tells him to activate a police cruiser's emergency lights. The lights trigger the dashcam. More importantly, the system saves footage from the previous 3 minutes. The destroyed memory cards no longer matter. Byrne shooting Marston has already been recorded. This is the movie's smartest piece of foreshadowing. For the entire story, cameras represent missing truth. The conspiracy survives by waiting for recordings to disappear. In the ending, Byrne is defeated because he forgets that a camera is watching. Terry revives Summer with Narcan, places her and Marston in the cruiser and drives toward the hospital. Byrne orders Sims to stop them with a pit maneuver, but Sims has finally seen what loyalty to Byrne really means. Instead of striking Terry's cruiser, she crashes into Byrne's vehicle. The other officers turn against their chief and escort Terry to the hospital as state police approach. Summer and Marston are taken inside. Terry returns to the cruiser and removes the dashcam recorder. That final object is more important than any weapon used in the movie. It contains proof, and proof is the one thing Byrne's system was designed to erase. Terry sits alone on a hospital bench, holding the recorder. He has not brought Mike back, he has not repaired Summer's life, and the movie does not guarantee that justice will be easy. But the 90-day clock has been broken. The truth can now survive longer than the people trying to hide it. The deeper message of Rebel Ridge is that corruption rarely begins with one giant crime. It grows through paperwork, silence, technical rules, and people who convince themselves they are only following procedure. Byrne is the obvious villain, but the real enemy is a system where every person protects one small lie until those lies become impossible to challenge. Terry defeats it without becoming what it accused him of being. He wins through discipline, evidence, and control. So who was the true villain? Chief Byrne, who designed the conspiracy? The officers who followed him? Or the system that allowed the town to treat innocent people like disposable evidence? And did Marston redeem himself in the end? Or did he simply act when the corruption finally threatened someone in front of him? Tell me your answer in the comments. Because in the next breakdown, we are looking at another movie where the final scene secretly changes everything that came before.